Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a shootout video between the RunCam Swift Micro and this little guy right here. This is the ELF camera from HGLRC, and it is included in this package right here. This is the HGLRC XJB F428 TX20-ELF package, and what's included in that package is a 28 amp micro 4-in-1 ESC, an F4 flight controller board, and a TX20 VTX. The VTX is selectable at 25 milliwatts, 100 milliwatts, and 200 milliwatts. Also included is an antenna, standoffs, and various connections for your setup. This package right here, this package that just includes these boards right here, which is the F428 package, is $71. For $84, you get this camera right here. And I spoke to Vu at HGLRC.com, and he was claiming that a lot of guys were not ordering the package with the camera. And I suspect the reason why is because a lot of guys don't know what this camera is. And I'm here to tell you today that this camera is really no different than the RunCam Swift Micro. In fact, the tracers, the components, and even the back of the camera is pretty much the same. The only differences is the lens and a little bit of the housing. The housing is the same. However, RunCam put little markings on their housing where the ELF camera does not have those markings. I do like the fact that the lens for the ELF fits into the housing a lot better. As a matter of fact, it's very tight, and so when you do your focus, it locks into place. Where the Swift Micro actually has a lock ring, and it's still rather loose. In fact, when flying, it comes loose on me to a point where I actually had to use silicone in order to secure this to the housing to keep it from vibrating loose. This is a 2.1 lens, and this is a 2.3 lens. Originally, this was a 2.3 lens, but I had a small crash, and for some reason, RunCam was having a problem with their lenses where the lenses would start to freak out and vibrate. So I had to put a 2.1 in there. $84 includes all of this, and you can get it at HGLRC.com with free shipping. Anything over $49 is free shipping, and it's fast shipping, 2 to 3 days. On the back of the camera, I also noticed when I was doing this review is it had a place for the dongle, and so I decided to go ahead and give it a try, and I got a dongle here for the RunCam Swift Micro, and I hooked it into this camera, and sure enough, it worked. So here you're able to actually hook the dongle up and change the various settings within this camera, much like the Swift Micro. So you're able to change the OSD settings to your name or the name of your craft. You're able to set up the backlighting, the contrast, change it from black and white to color. There's various settings, and I'll show that later on in the video, what you can do with this camera's firmware. So I think for $84, you're getting a hell of a deal, because the RunCam Swift Micro is $30 by itself. This is $84. And the weight is the same, the shape is the same, everything is the same between these two cameras. The performance is a little bit different, and I think a lot of it has to deal with the lens. This does have a lot richer colors, which you will see later on in the video, where the colors here seem to be a little bit more neutral. So I will show that. I'll also show the performance of the dynamic range between the two cameras and how it does undercover, like in a shady area. Okay, so here we are with the RunCam Swift Micro. Right now I'm showing you the dynamic range and the performance of it into the direct sunlight. And as we would expect from a RunCam product, it is really good. I'm showing you kind of the shady area, the transition from light to shade. It was smooth and very quick. And as you can see, the colors are really, they're pretty good on a clear day like this. The sharpness is really good. You can see right through the mesh of the chairs. I'm going to completely block out the lens and then release it and see how quick it's. So it's really not that bad. I mean, it's not often when we fly that we completely block the lens and then look straight into the sunlight. This is the ELF HGLRC ELF camera right here, and as you notice, the performance is right on par with the RunCam Micro. Pretty much the same right there. And then I go underneath the table, and once again, just like the RunCam Swift Micro, it was very smooth and quick. The lines that you see in the video here are actually the DVR. I didn't notice it when I was shooting the video because my head plays and the Boscam monitor was showing an absolute perfect image, so I didn't think I had a problem. The little dot that you kind of see in the middle of the screen is because I kept putting my finger on the lens. But as you can see, the colors are just amazing. I mean, it really pops with color. It's very sharp. You can see the individual blades of grass. You can see the rocks, the pathway. You can see the car through the fence back in the back there. So you can actually see the car through the slats of the fence. Now we're back to the RunCam Swift Micro. And once again, you can see the car through the slats of the fence, just like the ELF. You can see the different colors, just like with the ELF, of the lumber that I used for making the cedar fence. So it's very sharp. You can make out the telephone pole, the telephone lines, transistor, or I'm sorry, transformer. But you see the power line up there. There's a power line on your right-hand side. It's kind of jaggedy. I noticed that. I think the ELF actually does a little bit better job with that. Okay, now back to the ELF here, and I'm trying to wipe off that fingerprint off of the lens. And as you notice, the power lines and the edges on the umbrella, the chairs, the fence line, it's not as jaggedy. That power line that's up over on the right, just like with the RunCam Micro video we just seen, it's not jaggedy up there. So I think this does a little bit better job, actually. You can make out all of the details. Once again, the telephone poles, the transformer, the power lines, the car behind the fence, the leaves on the trees. Here I'm showing how easy it is to focus. The lens is the right amount of tightness into the housing, the camera housing. So it's not too loose and it's not too tight. And unlike the RunCam Swift Micro, you don't have to worry about a ring to lock it in place. Oftentimes when you're adjusting the Swift Micro, you get it perfectly focused, and then when you go to lock it in with that lock ring, it knocks it back out of focus. With this camera, it doesn't do that. The cameras, I mean, the colors are just amazing here. Okay, so I'm going into the different settings within the firmware by hooking up the dongle. And as you can see here, it's this setting right here will actually look like this right here. It'll be in Chinese, so you want to go down and change it to English. You have your white balance. Right here I'm in where I'm going to adjust the contrast and the sharpness a bit, just to play around with it, if anything. You can change the font colors. They have a couple of DNR settings. I don't know what the lens shade actually does. But I think the stock setting on this camera was absolutely perfect. I think it was really good out of the box, and I hope I didn't mess it up too much here. So I don't know what the display was. I didn't even go into it. And the backlight, I mean, we don't have any real backlight going on. I don't know if that's more or less for nighttime, maybe. I'm not really sure. There's 3 different settings for the white balance, as you can see here. And the way that HGLRC has this programmed, I think is perfect. So, and that's manual. I don't know. I think maybe we can go into manual and actually change the white balance a little bit. But I'm just playing around with these settings. I really don't know what exact impact they have. So this, you can change it to black and white or back to color. And then you can exit out of that. So that pretty much just shows you the features of this camera. And it also shows you my little dog out there rubbing around on his back there. I'm very impressed with this camera, and for an extra $13, you know, it's really well worth it, as opposed to buying a RunCam Swift Micro. So here's the pros and cons here. What I felt during this review and during the shootout between the two cameras. So that's what I'm kind of showing you here. And these are, you know, my observations. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or any comments, just leave them in the comment section below. Also, too, if you show more, you'll see the different links for HGLRC, and also the Facebook page for HGLRC, so that if you do get one of their products, you have some questions, they're very good on their Facebook page. You can shoot them off a message. They'll usually shoot you a message back within a couple of hours. And so I'm really, I'm very, very happy with this company and the products that they're releasing right now. I truly am. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.